Welcome back. Welcome back. It's your host, Delano, on the FanWire podcast. This is the post-game recap for the Washington Mystics matchup against the Atlanta Dream that took place on Wednesday, May the 7th. It was an early game. It kicked off at 11. The tip-off was at 11:30 a.m., and we actually pulled up at the game. So we have a very good insight on how this game started and finished. There's a lot was going on in this game. They were playing hard. Both teams were playing very hard. So let's get into it. Let's just jump into it. All right. So the Dream beat the Mystics 80-70. Right? The score wasn't as close as it looked throughout this game. But in the first quarter, Atlanta got out to a big lead, and then the Mystics got their footing a little bit, but it just wasn't enough to overcome that big lead that Atlanta put on them, right? So let's talk about the first quarter. All right, so Atlanta had 30 points in the first quarter, and Washington really struggled to score. They only had 10 points in the first quarter. All right, so with that being said, let's talk about some of the action that took place. From the very, very beginning of the game, it wasn't your typical game. Jordan Canada went up for a layup with about 30 seconds into the game, and she hurt her knee. So she left the game with a right knee injury, and she didn't come back. So I believe she is on the injury list for now. I'm pretty sure they're going to reevaluate her and put a timetable on when she'll be back. But it didn't look good in the moment. It didn't look good. But we don't wish injury on anybody. So we're hoping that she has a speedy recovery and can get back into the lineup as soon as possible. All right. So let's talk more about the new additions to Atlanta and how that impacted the game against the Mystics. All right. So Atlanta, this all season, they brought in a couple players. They brought in Brianna Jones, Brittany Griner, those and from the Washington Mystics, Shatira Walker Kimbrough, right? She came in as well. So Shatira Walker Kimbrough, she played a very good game. She definitely wanted to prove to the Mystics that, hey, I guess we should have did what we needed to do to keep her. But, she played well. She played spirited defense. She took it to the rack. She wasn't scared of the moment. Yeah. So I think that she's going to be a valuable contributor to Atlanta. All right. So Brianna Jones, she was a beast down low. She pretty much had the center role, right? She ended up with 6 points and 5 rebounds. Even though it doesn't appear that she had a major impact on the box score, but throughout the game, she changed shots. She did a whole lot of stuff. All right. Brittany Griner. Brittany Griner had a game. 16 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, and some really tough fouls. Let's just say that, right? But we'll talk more about that in a few. All right, so Brittany Griner was 2 for 2 from the 3. She really shot the lights out a little bit. All right, and Ryan Howard had 14 points, and Alicia Gray had 7 points, along with 4 rebounds. All right, and Nia Coffey came off the bench and had 14 points, 7 rebounds. All right, so now we got that out the way. Let's talk about what the Mystics did, and then we'll talk about some things that we noticed during the game. All right, so Brittany Sykes was a dog. She was not playing around. She only played 18 minutes, but she had 13 points, and she was 1 for 3 from the 3. but she was definitely a leader on that floor. Even at halftime, she was a leader. She is the leader of this team, the heart and soul of this team. Emily Inksler ended up with 9 points, 4 rebounds. Sonia Citron had 5 points. She also had 4 turnovers, and she was 1 for 1 for 3 and 2 for 5 from the field. I really strongly believe that Sonia Citron either gets the green light or she just becomes the shooter that we know she can be. She can average a lot of points. She may end up even being considered for Rookie of the Year if she can get that production up. But Kiki Irvin, she came out the box doing her thing. So she had 12 points along with 6 rebounds. So that was great to see in that role. Of course, we were without Aaliyah Edwards and also Shakira Austin, our big ladies that are down low, our starting center, starting power forward. We were without those players, so hopefully they will be ready when we play Atlanta again on May the 16th for the home opener. So hopefully she'll be ready. All right. Let's see here. All right, so let's talk about. Well, actually, one more person I want to mention. I want to mention Zay Green. Zay Green had a good game. She had a really good game. She had 6 points along with 4 assists and a rebound. But let's talk about Zay Green first. Zay Green is really, really trying to make a very good push to make this team, right? Zay Green played great defense. She was checking Ryan Howard throughout the game, and she made it tough for her on several attempts when she tried to shoot on Zay Green. And Zay Green played great defense, and I believe I believe Ryan Howard missed every shot she shot against Zay Green. So she played her really, really tough. I really can see that role for Zay Green as of this point, and maybe it can develop into more, but to come in and be a defensive specialist for players that are 6'2", 6'1", and above, I think that Zay Green is going to carve that role out for herself because Sonia Citron is that defensive specialist. But when Sonia is not in the game, we would need somebody to come in and play defense, right? And also, I would say this about Zay Green as well. During the first game, it looked like she was, I guess you could say, a little nervous, maybe, or just wanted to make sure she didn't do the wrong thing, right? She looked like she was thinking too much. Let's say that, like she was thinking too much in the first game. In this game, she looked way more comfortable, and you could tell she was being more aggressive, right? So I'm happy to see that from Zay. So I really think that if she can hone in on being that defensive specialist for the team that comes off of the bench, or if we have if we're playing a 3 guard heavy team that has one of those additional players that we need to learn how to stop or be able to stop at some point throughout the game, I think Zay will be a great addition to the team for that particular role, right? Everything else can come with development. I think over time, all of those things other things that you need, like your scoring and things like that, can improve over time, right? One more thing too about Atlanta, almost forgot. Cheyenne Sellers, the Merlin product, was recently signed to the Atlanta Dream. So I was looking to see if she was going to be in the building, see if she's going to get playing time, but she wasn't with the team at that point. So, we'll see how that whole thing goes. But we were looking for Cheyenne Sellers, but she wasn't there. But that's for the Dream, right? All right. So back to the Mystics. we were getting beat up down low, right? We were getting beat up. We had a total of, let's see, the rebounds on the stat sheet looked pretty similar, right? Atlanta had 33 rebounds to our 32 rebounds. But I really think that we could have had more if we had our two starters in the game. But I know that in my mind, I'm thinking that this is, getting Shakira and Aaliyah ready for the 16th. The preseason is good to be able to see what you can do for the younger players that have been signed to training camp contracts and players that are trying to make the team. But for those two, I don't think it's really necessary for them to push through and play in the preseason. The regular season is what matters, right? Because if they have a good regular season, then we can see where we can go from there. Who knows? I don't think we're going to make the playoffs from just what I see right now. But throughout this season, you never know how this thing can go. You never know how Coach Sidney Johnson can get this team on track. You never know. But we'll see how it goes. All right. So again, Brittany Sykes had 13 points. Let's see. But Kiki Irfin was playing some really good basketball. Even with having to go against Breonna Jones and Brittany Griner of the sort, she really held her own. So if we can get that type of production going forward, that'd be great. That'd be such a great thing. But we still have to wait and see how all of this shapes out. But there was some things that happened throughout this game. The first unit got smoked by the Dream, right? So when the second unit came in, that was Kiki, Lucy Olsen, Suggs Sutton came off the bench. Let's see, who else was on that second lineup? Zay Green. They really gave the team a boost. They gave them a spark, right? Every time that unit came on the floor. So they were playing like, hey, we can be a part of this season, this team this season. And I think that if the second unit didn't come in the way that they did, we could have been in trouble. Like, this could have been a runaway game. But the second unit, they really did their thing. Additionally, Sonia Citron, she was definitely in the passing lanes, locking things up. She was making things difficult. So if you can have Sonia Citron at the 2 and have Zay Green at the 3 doing certain situations, we can have a super dynamic team. With Brittany Sykes playing the 1, like if we need to get a stop, I will put those 3 in the game, depending on who we're playing against. And I believe that those 3 can get a stop if it came to it, right? All right. So let's see here. We definitely need to get an additional point guard. Someone that has that point guard mind. I really think so. Let's see here. So also, I have to take some notes here. All right. So at halftime, well, actually, before that, let's talk about the interaction between Brittany Griner and Sonia Citron. Sonia Citron had her welcome to the WNBA moment in that game. So Sonia Citron got hit with a pick from Brittany Griner. BG put her down. I mean, I was like, oh my gosh, is this? I didn't want to say the season's over, but she might have to take a few plays off. But it was good to know that Sonia Citron is a dog. She tough. She tough because she took a mean pick and she went down on the canvas. She said that when BG gave her that pick, she got hit in the ribs. It took her breath away. And you can see it because she didn't get up for a little while. But you can see that she was laughing at it. She was having a good time with it. Sonia Citron's tough. I like her. I really like her for this team. I think that Coach Sidney Johnson is instilling a toughness. I think he has probably set that as one of the goals for this team. We have to be tougher. So yeah, it was dope. It was dope. And it was good to see that Sonia Citron was able to get up and get back to the action too. Right? So let's see here. So one thing too, Sidney Johnson wasn't happy with the refs. He wasn't happy with the refs and the calls that they were making or not making, right? So at halftime, he really gave them the business at halftime. So I like that from my coach, not settling for what the refs give you. Let them know your displeasure, and we can move on and go from there, right? So I'm happy to see that from the coach. And he also was like, he looked serious, right? He looked like, hey, y'all gonna stop this. Y'all gonna get this together, right? Let's see here. Also, one thing of leadership, you can tell that this was the first home opener preseason game for the Washington Mystics. So at halftime, the team didn't really know which direction to leave the court, right? So you can see Brittany Sykes like, hey, over here. You got to come this way. Over here, over here. So I just like that leadership because we do have a lot of young players. So they might not know where to go, but it's dope to see her leadership, and she showed leadership throughout the entire game. I think she is going to be great for these young players. Just like Aaliyah Edwards is going to be great, and Shakira Austin is going to be great for this team. But I really, really think that Slim is going to be pivotal. All right. Let's see here. One thing that I did notice that it was probably the reason why Sonia Citron got ate up on that screen. They need to talk more on defense. They do. They need to call out the picks. They need to talk on defense. They need whoever that needs to be in that back line that can see everything that's going on needs to communicate what's coming to the other players. Along with if you're close and you can see that pick, call that pick out. Because they got ate up on a couple picks, but that was just the one that took Sonia Citron down. We will pray that, they communicate a little bit better so that, somebody doesn't run into a pick and they don't get back up for a little while. They might be out the game or something. Who knows? So let's work on that communication. I know Sidney Johnson is probably working on that right now. Like right now. But it was definitely something that I observed from the game, right? Because we were sitting fairly close. So, we can hear the players and what they were saying. So I would definitely say work on that. That should be a definite point of emphasis. All right, so let's see what else did we notice. So the second half, the Mystics pretty much started to actually from the second quarter on, we won every quarter from the second quarter on. So if we didn't have that major deficit to overcome from the first quarter, we may have had a good chance to get this victory. But, the starting lineup, we got to figure it out. So the one thing that we did notice that was different, let's see here. It was Jay Milburn. Jay Milburn started at point guard, right? So I don't know. I know we're trying out the lineups and seeing what works and what doesn't. I think it'd be better if Jay came off of the bench because she can give you scoring off the bench, right? Yeah, I don't see her as being the point guard, the answer at point guard for us. But I really think that if our point guard that we drafted was here, I think that this would be a different, it would be different outcomes because we would have that floor general on. So Georgia Amore, if she was available, this would have been different. But since she's not available, I was assuming that they're probably going to suspend her contract, right? Or do something, a special designation since she was injured in the preseason. And we actually just signed a guard out of, let's see, where did we sign her from? We signed, well, I'll come back to that. But also, let me give you some more interesting facts about this game. All right, so Te-Hina Pow had 7 points, 4 assists. She ran that second unit. We need someone with that skill set, someone that's comfortable with running a point guard. Even though she's more of like, I guess you can say she's a combo guard, but she definitely has point guard ability. So we need somebody like that. Lucy Alston has that ability, but I think that Pow is just more is a more seasoned player when it comes to those responsibilities. All right. We struggled from the 3-point line. We shot 15% from the free throw line, 3 for 19. We got to do way better with that. Way better. Atlanta shot 34%. That's 12 of 30 for 35. And yeah, and we also committed 18 turnovers, the Mystics did, leading to 15 points for the Dream. You can't win like that. So that's also, I think that comes back to having that dedicated point guard. Let's see. Atlanta outpaced Washington with an 11-0 advantage on fast break points. So, you can't win like that. You got to do better. But, of course, this is a preseason. This is the ability. This is our time so that we can try to fix different things that are seen because we don't play again until the 16th. So that's literally 7 days of practice. Well, we have 7 days to get in a lot of good practices. Let's just say it like that. But let's, we'll see what happens from here. What else do we want to talk about? Yes, that's pretty much it. And we're going to talk briefly about one of our new additions. She went to Creighton University, and I believe her name is Lauren. Yeah, Lauren Jensen from Creighton University, 5'10" guard. We'll talk about her in depth in a separate video, but I think she's more of a shooter. She doesn't necessarily have point guard skills from the video I've seen, but we'll see. We'll see what this turns into. All right, so this is your host Delano wrapping it up. We just talked about the post-game recap for the Washington Mystics against the Atlanta Dream. It was an 80-70 defeat, But take this time to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and don't forget to share it with your friends, share it on your social media, because when we shoot over here at the FanWire Podcast, we score. All right, this is your host, Delano. Y'all have a good one. Until next time.